Hello guys, today we're going to talk about genetic diseases as cystic fibrosis, okay? Many genetic diseases in humans are due to recessive alleles. Remember recessive, the ones that are not expressed or are masked by dominant alleles of autosomal genes in this case, okay? We're talking about genes that are autosomal, not the sexual genes. Also, some genetic diseases are due to dominant or codominant alleles. In this case, we're going to talk about cystic fibrosis and Huntington's disease, okay? The first example of this one, sorry about that. Pedigree charts can be used to trace family histories and deduce genotypes and risk in the case of inherited gene-related disorders. So this is a way to identify if someone in the family is going to have this disorder, okay? This is a pedigree chart for this family. What are you going to have? You're going to have the parents in the first line, and you have to read always the key, okay? The key is very important in biology. We have female with a circle, male with a square, okay? The ones that are blue, marked or blue, they are the affected ones with the disease, not affected, blank, and disease, okay? So as you can see, we have parents, and this is the offspring of every single family. And if they meet and they mate, they're going to, what is are they going to have a probability of having that genetic disease or not, okay? So remember, is cystic fibrosis dominant or recessive? How do you know? So in this case, we have that, yes, in some occasions, we're going to have that some of the offspring is going to acquire the disease. In other cases, don't, okay? So is a recessive disease. An affected mother in gene 1 has produced affected 2A. Mother must have been a carrier. Carrier means that the mother has the allele that is going to produce cystic fibrosis, but she's not going to have the disease, okay? Because it's a recessive allele. It's hidden, remember that. So a mutation in the CFTR gene causes secretions, mucus, sweat, and digestive juices, which are usually thin, instead becoming thick. Okay, instead of acting as a lubricant, the secretions block tubes, ducts, and passageways, especially in the lungs and pancreas. This is what happens when someone has cystic fibrosis. Despite therapeutic care long problems in most of cystic fibrosis sufferers, leads to an early death, like expectancy is between 35 and 50 years. So it's a disease that is very, very rare, and we need to know more about that, right? What is the probability of two parents who are both carriers of the recessive allele producing children affected by cystic fibrosis? Do you remember that last class we used the Punnett grids to identify which were the phenotypes and genotypes in some cases? So it's the same in here, okay? We have the mother, the father, the cross between them, and we have, this is the genotype, T, normal allele, T is mutated allele, the one that causes cystic fibrosis. And if they cross, what is the probability of having the offspring? What is the percentage of having offspring with this disease? So you have to write the Punnett grid and then identify the genotypes and phenotypes. Remember that this is F1, okay? And the phenotype ratio. So as you can see in this Punnett grid, the cross is made, TT, uppercase T, lowercase t, you have to cross in that way. And okay, the genotypes, you have a T that is uppercase, it's a normal allele. So that is a dominant one, okay? So we have 75% of normal genotypes, but the 25% that you see here, the two recessive alleles are going to produce cystic fibrosis. What is the phenotype ratio? 3:1, okay? For every single 3 persons, one can have cystic fibrosis. Therefore, 25% chance of having a child with cystic fibrosis, okay? Another pedigree chart is a pedigree chart in which, remember, this is a Punnett grid, and this is a pedigree chart. Both are different. In this one, you can see how the family, you can see family histories and how the disease has been spread, okay? This is used to show inherited gene-related disorders. As you can see here, we have the same. You have to use the key to identify that. Again, we have a T as a normal allele, uppercase T, and lowercase T as a mutated allele. Okay, so you have the pedigree chart and both TT, so it's the dominant, right? Both parents have this kind of alleles. And then C, this is the offspring, okay? He or she is going to have, in this case, the square is a male. He is going to have the recessive allele, the recessive traits that are going to cause cystic fibrosis. And D, in this case, is another, remember, father, mother. These are the two kids, the offspring, C and D. Okay, remember, A, B, C, the first child, D, the second child, D. That one has T, uppercase T and lowercase t. So it has a recessive allele, but it's not going to inherit that disease, okay, the cystic fibrosis one. But in this case, what happened with this one? This child marries a woman that has the allele, the recessive allele. So the disease is going to be inherited. And we have another history in that one, okay? Remember that. So it's not that difficult. You need to know how to read this kind of pedigree charts using the key that you have here. And also we have to identify the genotypes, okay? Let's check. Again, we have another kind of phenotype in which we have the gametes. Remember, gametes. These are sexual gametes. One comes from the father, the other one comes from the mother. TT is the affected one. Okay, so this person has cystic fibrosis and he marries someone that has the recessive allele hidden, okay? So as you can see, a 50% of chance of having a child with cystic fibrosis. So that's why it's very important to know if that person has the recessive allele with that kind of genetic disorder. Okay, wait, I have to stop the recording.